Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo, this is 3 Buck Theater, and this is my review, my what I think of South Park Season 21, Episode 4, Franchise Prequels. Now, with the title like that, you can pretty much already guess where this episode is going. South Park's second game, The Fractured Butthole, well, it's not the second game, but the second of the RPG games, comes out in just a couple weeks, and this, of course, is the prequel leading in to that particular situation. And it worked out pretty well. It was a very funny episode. Not quite unlike what they did back in 2013 at the end of that season when they had a 3-episode Console Wars tie-in with South Park and the Stick of Truth, which was supposed to come out December of 2013, but was ultimately pushed back to March of 2014, so the tie-in didn't necessarily work as well as they wanted it to, but that doesn't really matter. You ask anyone out there who's played South Park and the Stick of Truth, and they're going to tell you it's sublime, it's fantastic, it's great. But this episode clearly sets up part of the conflict, and it's pretty damn funny. This is the episode I think we've been waiting all season to get. Now, a couple weeks ago when episode 3 came out, I said it was a good episode because it was a Randy episode, whereas the 2 episodes previous, a little bit wonky, not the best they could have done. Let's just be realistic there. But this, in my opinion, was a true return to form. So what you had is Cartman, aka the Coon, there with Coon and friends, and they're trying to figure out how to enact their Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 in order to make a lot of money. This is a mixture of not only television series, but feature films and video game spin-offs, with the first one being the Coon Netflix series, and that they want to then start on Netflix to build an audience, to build a fan base, and then continue through the 3 phases, having their civil war between Coon and friends take place during the 3rd phase. Clearly parodying Marvel and how they've handled their phases thus far, and of course all the conflicts that come along with it. But man, their plans kind of go awry when all of a sudden negative Facebook posts start coming out saying that they like to beat up little girls and defecate in their mouths. And this, of course, causes them to start losing their fans and start losing their fan base, and people start turning against them, and the boys don't know what to do. Well, we discovered that perhaps this little situation is cooked up by none other than Professor Chaos, a character I absolutely love. Butters is my favorite South Park character, and when he comes in to become Professor Chaos, I always love it. I always love it when they do it. My only complaint with this, though, is that he didn't actually become, there was no general disarray. That character wasn't involved, which is unfortunate because you can't have Professor Chaos without general disarray, right? I think we all know that at this point. But what happens is Butters is currently running Chaosity. His henchman Facebook organization, his troll farm, if you will, out of a defunct, abandoned circus city that he just retrofitted to say Chaosity. And he has a pretty comprehensive hiring plan, and he's trying to get health and dental for all of the henchmen who are being paid to basically promote and spread fake news about Coon and Friends via Facebook. And because it's such a profitable endeavor, Butters has found a way to basically earn a living off of talking crap about his friends. And they call him out on it too, but he doesn't care. He simply doesn't care, even though they are trying to include him in the movies by saying, no, we even have a movie planned for the bad guys, so you get your own movie too, but this Netflix deal has to go through. And so they try to call Netflix, and that's probably my favorite thing there, is when they call Netflix and it says, hello, thank you for calling Netflix, you're greenlit. How may I help you? And they basically say, we want to pitch a series to Netflix, and the Netflix exec or the Netflix guy is like, okay, do you want us to be a pilot order or a 6-episode order? And Cartman goes, 6 episodes with a chance for renewal at 3. And then the guy goes through the process of greenlighting the show and then says, wait, what is this whole thing about? And then they tell him it's Coon and Friends, and he's like, wait, those are the kids I read about on Facebook who like to defecate in people's mouths. No, we can't have that here on Netflix. And so they hang up on him, and so the boys clearly have to find out a way to fix this, and the only way to do this is to basically, well, get Mark Zuckerberg to stop and close Facebook down. This probably has a little bit to do with today. There was Facebook actually went down. Facebook and Instagram went down today. So I don't necessarily know if that was just kind of a joke that tied into this, or if that actually was a very last minute addition in order to play on the current event, the current of the event, I guess you want to call it. So there's that, and then at the same time, the parents of South Park have heard these rumors on Facebook, believing them to be true, that these masked kids like to do these horrible things, and they figure the only way to stop this would be to bring in Mark Zuckerberg in order to talk to the parents, to explain to them the situation and what needs to be done. So, well, Mark Zuckerberg does come to town, and he basically is, as everyone expects Mark Zuckerberg to be, a robot. who has this unblockable style that he likes to fight and go meow, 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 that kind of thing. And it just starts coming into people's lives and eating their food and sleeping in their bed and taking over, because that's essentially what Facebook has done at this point. And so the parents can't get rid of him. They try to even kick him out of town. The police set up a barricade, and he just walks right through because there's legally nothing they can do to keep him out. And this is when the boys show up and essentially fight him, trying to get him to go away. He does best them, but that is part of the show, because Cartman was secretly broadcasting this fight of a disabled boy, a young black boy, and a Jewish boy being beaten up by Mark Zuckerberg when they were simply fighting for their rights. To Facebook Live, and that causes him to react and effectively shut down Butters' troll farm. And Butters gets grounded and dragged off to the Kremlin to confront Putin, who Butters' dad, Mr. Stotch, then proceeds to tear a new asshole. And it's pretty funny, you know, clearly a parody of everything involving the election and Russia and what we've learned. So it did tie in very well with the overall idea for what was going on with this particular episode, which I thought was very funny. I thought was very well handled. And again, it felt like South Park was kind of back to their top form in terms of commentary, and not being as ham-fisted as they were in previous episodes, which leads me to believe that they really were planning on this game to have already come out. That actually the game was set to come out, and then they delayed it by a few weeks. So whatever they had already lined up to set off the season, which was probably the Coon and Friends episodes, is why in the first 2 episodes of the season, and this is my speculation, I have no idea if this is true or not, but they had to come up with something new in order to push the storyline back to coincide with the release, which does make sense if that is what happened. And you could see that they were rushing, and it was just, those episodes really felt forced, probably because they were. So that being said, the game comes out in a couple, I don't know when it comes out, I want to say early November, a couple weeks. Looks fantastic. This was a franchise prequel. I don't believe this is going to be part of a longer arc. The Console Wars episode from a few seasons ago was clearly part of that whole angle, so we know that they had 3 episodes tying in with the release of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and also the game. This time around, I think it's just the 1 episode, and then next week is going to go back to normal, which is unfortunate because you would like to see them explore more of this in the show, but we'll get that in the game. Now they've already skipped Phase 1 and Phase 2 and gone to the Civil War of Phase 3, so I'm very excited for that. There wasn't a lot of bad things about the episode. It was them doing what they do best, keeping it fun, keeping it engaging, and still being very crazy and over the top. What it does tell me, though, is that Mark Zuckerberg is going to be a big bad of the game, and that's going to be something fun to play around with. And yeah, we're gonna get another good South Park adventure, and this is a great episode to go along with that. I don't know if you guys liked it as well as I did, but I was legitimately laughing. Also, one thing I do want to note, though, is once again they're continuing the Cartman-Heidi relationship. Heidi does show up at one point in time, saying that Cartman is supposed to meet her at the park. He never actually called her. Cartman then is like, oh, God, and then she goes away. So I don't know why they're dragging out that relationship. I don't know what they're leading to with that. I don't know if that's going to be a part of the video game. Something happens to Heidi and Cartman wants to do something about that, or if it's going to tie into an overall arc ending in the rest of the season. So far, each episode has pretty much been kind of procedural and not serialized as we've seen in previous seasons. There are some connections, but ultimately you can watch them in any order and it's not going to matter. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here, but I do want to know your guys' thoughts about this. Do you think that that this is going to be a good lead-in? Do you think this is another good episode? Do you think South Park is finally coming out of its funk from the first part of the season? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.